the band is, and I guess we'll start there.
Cool. This is Exhale, the guitarist for Blue Felix. Yeah, we've been ripping it up since 2003. We've been touring this record since May of last year, and yeah, about to go out and do the damn thing with Mushroomhead, Psycho Stick, and Moto Grader, and Ventana, and I think Tenafly Viper opens the show, and should be a fantastic bill every night.
So is that still part of the Carnival of Chaos thing going on?
It's actually, that whole tour is going to be called the Slaughterhouse Road Show.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be Tenafly Viper and Ventana opening every night. Their Mushroomhead side project's really, really cool. Then us and Moto Grader and Psycho Stick, who are, real cool with us too. Those guys are just killing it constantly on the road too. Psycho Stick and Moto Grader just don't let up. It's just relentless. Those guys all do like 150 shows a year. So should be, and then obviously Mushroomhead brings the thunder and just a amazing stage show, all kinds of theatrics and the water drums and all that stuff. So, yeah, it should be, I think a great bill every night of really, energetic theatrical bands that really put on good stage show and leave the crowd with something to think about when they go home.
Very cool. So, kind of just give you a little background, how I had never heard of you guys until about a month and a half ago. Maybe it's 2 months now. And a friend of mine went to the Carnival of Chaos that you did here in Michigan. I'm in Michigan.
Right, yep.
And she comes back, she's a girl I work with, and she's like, yeah, you got to listen to this band and check them out. So I YouTubed a couple, I YouTubed Middle Finger Up, and I YouTubed, I don't know, one of the other songs.
Uncle Scam's probably the other
Uncle Scam, yep.
Yeah, we did.
Yep, that's the one. And I was like, you kidding me? These guys are awesome.
Right on, well, cool.
It was just,
cool.
And it was crazy that, I'm like, how is there a band like this out here I've never heard about? So I thought that was very...
Our thing, too, is we kind of... I don't want to say we fly under the radar by any stretch. I feel like we make our stamp anywhere we go, but at the same time, we're probably one of the fewer bands around right now, I think, on the scene, doing 100-plus shows a year that, to be quite honest, we do it all ourselves. I mean, we're completely self-produced. I mean, the album was co-produced with Sid from Slipknot, obviously, but, aside from that, I mean, we have no label, no backing or anything like that. We just do everything on our own. We got our own tour bus, our own road crew, our own management, booking agent, all that stuff. But it's cool because we don't really have to answer to the man every day and anything like that. But it's cool. I think that's why though, in kind of the mainstream, we're able to fly under the radar a little bit still, is just because we're still all self-produced and kind of doing it on our own thing. But yeah, it's cool. It's finally a lot of hard work that's paying off to be able to go out with Mushroomhead, and I can't speak yet, but there's a lot of bigger talks of things on the horizon after that tour too. And so, yeah, it's cool. Like I said, we pretty much do everything on our own, and kind of gives us the freedom to give the fans what we want to give them every night, rather than what some jerk off in a suit and a tie wants to give them every night. So I think that's the cool thing about us is, we're really raw, we're really energetic, and we just, I won't use expletives if too bad if you're on the radio, but we don't give a
Yep.
Pretty much.
No, I hear, I appreciate that. I tell you, it seems like, and not that I wouldn't wish for success of a big label for any band, but a lot of big bands, once they get that label, it's just like, poof, they suck.
Well, I think a lot of it, that I kind of like, at least where we're at, and I like a lot of the bands on this bill, too, for the same reason, Moto Grader and Mushroomhead and Psycho Stick, is that, we may be the only one of those bands that doesn't have a label right now, but I think that all those bands are pretty good about, not letting, like I said, the guys in the suits and the ties kind of control everything, and I think that's really what's helped us be successful in terms of doing it ourselves, is that, when you could build it up on your own and not have to, deal with record labels and all that kind of jazz, and it kind of opens up the freedom that, now if a label was to come give us an offer, I mean, when you look at some of the offers that are getting put on the table right now to indie bands, I'll just tell you right now, we've spent 10 times that on this record and touring it on our own. So at this point, if somebody wants to give us a record deal, it's like we kind of feel like we've got leverage and cards on the table to where, you're either going to give us what we want or we're going to keep going right out and doing it on our own and doing it well, which we're doing right now. So I think that's, pretty much sad to say that's kind of the only play you can really make nowadays, because if you have any, I'm not saying that there's no $1 million record deals left in the business anymore, but God, they're few and far in between, and generally if you do get them, you're going to be a Justin Bieber where you've got a rope around your neck at all times, so.
Right, yeah, we won't even talk about that dude, jeez.
Yeah, well, the sad fact is, I'm not huge on that kind of music and the pop stuff, but, after really being a musician for a while and, doing 100 shows a year, man, it's hard to not respect some of those guys, even for the fact that, even poor little Justin Bieber, he's just getting drug around by his neck, I'm sure, all the time. But at the same time, nobody could sit here and say the kid doesn't work hard, to get where he's at. You can't be in that kind of a position and not be working, just 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. It's all the little stuff that people forget about. It's the interviews and the little things like that, go be at this autograph signing, go do that. There's so much that goes into building your name beyond just being in the band and doing the stage show and stuff like that. So it's, I got respect for really anybody in the business nowadays. It's just doing it and out there doing their thing, and,
Yeah, you kind of lose you kind of lose your personal time, that's for sure, right?
Yeah, you certainly do. It's like that way for us. Even right now when you're up and coming, like I said, there's no choice. Every interview, every little promotion, every endorsement you can get your hands on is going to help you and spread the word. I've always personally had a saying. It kind of is devil's advocate to the label and devil's advocate to no label, is that a lot of bands, I think, make music that they think millions of people want to hear, and I think Blue Felix makes music that we want millions of people to hear. It's not necessarily that we want to be the corporate record deal suit and tie kind of guys, but at the same time, if you're underground your whole life, how powerful is your message if it's only getting out to 100 kids every night? To me, bands like the Slipknots and the Lamb of Gods that are really, really just killing it to tons of kids every night, those to me are the most powerful metal bands, because that message is getting spread, and that's what's actually infectious like a virus, and what spreads the word of the new wave of things that are going on.
Yeah, very cool. Hey, I have one question from the that Carnival of Chaos show you did here in Michigan. Did you meet one of the bands there called Headcase? Did you meet them guys?
Headcase, I don't remember. We did meet a few. We met several of the bands that were back there playing. I honestly don't remember. It was honestly a giant blaze of smoke and Jägermeister, as far as I remember, the Carnival of Chaos. But the one thing I will say is, I was just unbelievably impressed at how every band that played was really, really good. I know that. I know that we met several of the bands back there, but it's, when you're, I'm sure it's the same for them too, when you're out doing 100 shows a year, the faces just blend in at certain shows, especially the big festivals, and you get 20, 30 bands on a bill. But,
right.
But yeah, what's up with Headcase?
Well, they're a local band. They're in the town, right next to me, and I'm actually going to be talking to them guys soon. So I was just curious if you remembered them.
The name sounds familiar from the bill, so I'm guessing we probably did meet. I remember getting introduced to 15, 20 bands that day, and it's all, like I said, it's all a blur of Jägermeister and medicinals constantly. So
nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't know.
Okay, so how did Blue Felix? How did you guys all get together in the beginning? How did the band come to be?
It was kind of just a melting pot of guys that had, all been doing their thing for a while, and really just kind of came together on the scene, and eventually every dude kind of brings their own thing. I bring a lot of old school metal vibe. Our singer brings a lot of classic rock vibe. Our drummer is, full on heavy metal to the bone. If it doesn't reach out of the speakers and, stab you in the throat, it's not heavy enough, So it's, every guy in the band kind of comes from a different angle, and I think that's what kind of makes it unique, is that we don't we don't really conform to a certain style. We've never come out and said, hey, we're going to be a metal band, or hey, we're going to be, you know, a hard rock band. Or, you know, it just kind of flows together. And, yeah, it's just kind of, you know, we've pieced it together. Like I said, we've been doing it for a while now, I think, in some fashion since 03, 04, you know, and been touring this record for the better part of a year and a half now.
So before, you know, I'm sure that, you know, obviously when you're on tour, you don't get as much time to practice. When you guys are practicing, I mean, how often do you actually get time to actually do that?
We rehearse pretty steadily. We rehearse at least once a week when we're home. You know, for a whole good night. I mean, not just, you know, come out and, you know, dip right away. We'll come out and we'll roll through all of our songs just, you know, tons and tons of times over. And then a lot of times if we're at a point where we're writing new tunes, or, you know, working on a new record, we'll get together, you know, 2, sometimes even 3 days a week. And, you know, the second day will be more of a quiet, you know, with practice amps and work on writing stuff where we can all hear each other talk and converse ideas and stuff like that.
So what, you know, since it's just you, what got you, at what point in your life did you decide, hey, you know what, this is what I want to do?
For me, I actually, it's kind of funny how it's come full circle that we work with Sid from Slipknot, but I'm actually from Des Moines, and I was born and raised down there, and I took guitar lessons for a couple of years when I was 16 from Mick from Slipknot, and when I did that, I think that just kind of watching those guys and watching the way that Slipknot exploded on the scene and watching what it meant for, you know, for me personally and my hometown, and, you know, being able to, you know, just connect with somebody like that on a weekly basis, that it really has an idea of where I wanted to go as a musician. It's one thing to go take guitar lessons and, you know, learn scales and modes, and it's a whole other thing to learn it from a guy that really is able to help you apply it to rock and heavy metal music in that fashion. And so for me, I think just like meeting him and taking lessons from him, and then going about being in a band for a while and watching those guys blow up, I think that's what kind of made me realize that, you know, I've met some of these guys on a personal level. Obviously, you know, not friends with them or anything like that, or, you know, aside from Sid, but you know, it was just kind of watching that in my hometown and realizing that, you know, there is the spot for everybody in this business if you're willing to work hard enough for it, and if you're, you know, my saying has always been, if you're willing to do what the next band isn't, you know, if you're willing to take that show that they weren't willing to take, if you're willing to, you know, do that interview that they weren't willing to do, or take that picture that they weren't willing to take, you know, then that's how you can build it up to a point where everybody knows your name.
Yeah, and I totally get that and respect that, because, you know, being a DJ at Metalhead Radio, I don't know how to say this. You know, there's a lot of guys out there that want to talk to Metallica and Megadeth and bands like that, and you know, and could care less about bands that are up and coming. And that's the beauty of Metalhead Radio. We're like the opposite. I mean, you know, one of the guys does interview some of the bigger bands, but I honestly couldn't. I mean, I like the bigger bands, but I couldn't really care less to interview them so much, because at this level, you know, and obviously you're up and coming and getting there, it sounds like to me, but at this level, the bands are just a lot more personable, and I really appreciate the conversations I can have with people at this level right now.
Well, and I think a lot of it, too, nowadays, when you think about the way that everything's so exploited in the music business, obviously, you know, the pop world, it's different with, you know, the Britney Spears and Lady Gagas and stuff, having cameramen follow them around constantly. You know, everybody's exploits are so well documented now that a lot of those bigger bands, you know, the Slipknots and the Metallicas, you know, everybody knows everything about them already. I mean, they've already done a bajillion interviews, and everybody knows what kind of food they eat and where they...
Right, exactly.
You know, that kind of crap. It's just, you know... So in that regard, I think that the new up-and-coming bands are really, I think... You know, that's really where a lot of the bread and butter is in the music scene, you know, when you really think about it. I mean, how many huge metal bands that sell millions of records get played on the radio every day? I mean, you know, 20, 30, 40. I mean, when you look at the thousands of bands that are out there, it's a pretty small percentage.
Right.
So,
well, it's the opposite at Metalhead, because the majority of my show is probably people you've never even heard of, so it's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, that's cool, you know, and that's what spreads the word. I mean, new bands are, you know, it's a way of life, you know. It's constantly finding new music is it's irreplaceable. You know, I mean, once you find something new that you like, it's going to be a mainstay in your life, and it's really hard to get people to turn that off. So it's cool, you know, and I like the fact that there's a lot of really good underground bands on the scene right now that are really hitting it hard and, you know, putting out good work ethic and, you know, doing the same thing we're trying to do and get their name out there.
Right, and that's totally true. There is. I probably get 10 or 15 emails a day from different bands wanting, you know, sending in their music just to get it out there and heard. And, you know, you have to sort through a lot of its crap, but occasionally you get a band in there like, holy crap, where'd these guys come from? So, yep. What are some of your musical influences from growing up and stuff?
You know, I mean, for the whole band, it kind of goes all the way across the board. For me personally, as a guitarist, I kind of grew up and got into a lot of, you know, the old school metal, the old Metallica, you know, Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax, all the, you know, the big four was obviously a huge part of my childhood. But you know, I'm really getting into a lot of newer stuff. My drummer's been turning me on to lately too. You know, some of the heavier stuff, the Black Dahlia Murders and stuff like that. That are the Burial's another one from here in Minneapolis. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're just absolutely killing it right now too. And those guys are just unbelievable musicians.
What's the name of them guys?
What's that?
What's their name?
They're called After the Burial. But you know, like I said, there's a lot of great bands out there, and I think that for us, you know, the types of music that we listen to is just so broad. Like I said, you know, we've got guys that bring in a lot of classic rock stuff. I mean, we're all into, you know, the old Floyd and Zeppelin and you know, stuff like that, and everything, you know, right up. I listen to a lot of eclectic stuff myself, even, I'm, you know, and just all the way back to like the Police and the Grateful Dead and stuff like that, all the way up to, you know, the Lamb of Gods and Killswitch. And, you know, like I said, it's amazing that we're finding new bands every day that just blow the lid off of things. So
right. Well, you know, and there's so many different types of music out there. I don't know how anybody could ever get stuck like in one. I hate labels and genres almost. I don't know how people can just get stuck into one thing. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, that's my thing. I mean, I pretty much, you know, listen to a band or listen to an artist, and, you know, either I dig it or I don't. You know, but if I dig it, I'm not gonna make myself not dig it because it's a certain style of music. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of good music that comes out every day. Even, you know, I'm not a hater if something's on the radio. I'm not a hater if something sells millions of records. I mean, to me, that's usually just a testament of how successful it is. You know, I think a lot of what gets lost in the metal scene right now, especially, is that it's, you know, the day the guitar player and the drummer has really come into the fold again, and it's really reached that point where the guitar solo's back and everybody's shredding a million notes a minute and getting real technical. And yet the reality is, you know, 9 out of 10 people, you go to a show, you know, they'll tell you that Godsmack is metal. You know, they'll tell you that Disturbed is metal. And
right.
a lot of the underground scene, I think, you know, gets appreciated, but at the same time, you know, there's always going to be a place in this world for simplicity, you know, and I think that's where Blue Felix, where we've always tried to find the balance, where we try to throw out the, you know, the technical riffs and the technical drum parts, and we throw out guitar solos and really try to give people something to connect with in that department. But at the same time, you know, I mean, you look at all, you know, Pantera is a prime example. I mean, look at all the fantastic riffs that guy wrote and all the guitar solos and everything, and yet it's just that simple, stupid little jump,
right?
Just the simplest little lick that the guy probably ever wrote, and that's the one that was just the magic that every time you saw him live, the whole crowd is jumping up and down, you know, and it's, you know, there's always a simplicity that seems to reign throughout the masses of the people, and I think that it's not necessarily important to cater to the masses all the time, but like I said before, I think it is important to get your message out to the masses. If you don't get that message out there, and if you're only getting it out there to 10, 20 kids every night, then to me, that's not that hardcore, because you're not doing anything. You know, I mean, if that message isn't getting out there, how hardcore is it? You know,
right? Yeah, if your message isn't getting out there, then you're not working hard enough.
Yeah, and yet at the same time, you look at, again, like Slipknot's a prime example. I mean, Corey's obviously got all kinds of lyrics that send a chill up your spine and really make you think about what, what you're doing with your life every day. And when you can go out the way that they do and say that to 50,000 kids, 100,000 kids at Sonosphere, a million kids, I think they're doing Rock in Rio even this month or next. When you can get those kinds of messages out to that kind of a crowd, that's where the power is. That's where in my opinion, that's what's hardcore. That's what really sends a message to the masses and the proverbial man, if you will, to just say, we're not going to sit here and take what's been happening in the last 10 years. The fact of the matter is, America's pissed off right now. That's the reality of the situation. The economy is garbage. It shows on every front. People. I think I read something that 9 out of 10 people now, according to CNN, completely disapprove of the government. So it's reached that point where, to me, that power is, again, it's being able to get out to the masses and being able to spread the word and not, hold it to yourself.
Yep. So what's speaking of live and playing and stuff? What's your favorite song to play? Do you have a favorite song of yours that's just that one that you just know the crowd is going to go extra crazy when you start playing?
Yeah, the funny thing is that there's never really been a full-on favorite, but at the same time, Middle Finger was actually one of the probably, and I don't want to in any way say one of my least favorites, but it was one of the songs that I felt like when we first wrote it, I felt like, man, does this song really fit with this album? It's a good song. I was kind of on the fence about it in a lot of ways, and yet that's the song that, again, where it's that simplicity reigns. It's, it's a few simple power chords and just a real powerful message again, and very, very concise lyrics about what Toxic wanted to say. And I think in that regard, Middle Finger for me, even though it was one I was kind of on the fence about when we wrote the record, it's almost become one of the favorites because I know that every time we play that song, the crowd just goes absolutely wild. There's mosh pits. Carnival of Chaos, we played that song, I jumped into the mosh pit with guitar in hand.
Nice.
Jumping around and pushing people, and, so I think that, again, it's hard to pick a favorite, but that one particular I know is, just there's something special about that song that everybody connects with. I thought that, the music video turned out great. I was really happy with that.
The video's awesome. Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
there's the energy in it.
Yeah, those guys, Chad and Phillip, they do a really good job over there. They've done a lot of videos and stuff for Sub Noise. They've done, they did Head PD Renegade video and a couple other ones. But yeah, they're really good. I was really happy with the way that video turned out, and we get all kinds of comments about it. And like I said, that to me is the song that really just, I can't say I pick a favorite, but that's the song where it just really seems to connect with everybody, and no matter what, it's just mayhem the second we play it live.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so here's and probably everybody asked you this question, and I really dig it, and because there's not very many bands that out there that put that work and effort into this that I see you guys do, and I'm gonna go into, I don't know what to say, the theatrics of your show, all the face paint, all that whole thing that you guys do. What was the drive to? Have you guys always done that? Is it something you've just started recently?
No, we've always done that. I think that the thing to that is it's kind of funny because you look at it, and obviously there's always bands and people on the scene that want to rip us for it, and that it's it's gimmicky and cliche and this and that. And I tell them a couple of things, which is one, and I'll ask you this question right now: name me 10 bands that wear face paint that have sold 1 million records.
Other than Kiss, I probably don't know.
There you go. Now name me 10 bands or 100 bands that wear the same jeans and a T-shirt and have sold 1 million records.
Yeah, we could go on and on all day on that one.
You know what I mean? So it's like realistically, which one is more cliche?
Right.
That's kind of the way that we look at it. And a lot of it to me is, I look at it, and I've told people this before, and this is kind of the, to flip the script and make people think about it is, if you line up 100 bands in a row, and let's say every band is unbelievable guitar player, drummer, singer, they have the whole package, every band just rips, and then bring in David Geffen, bring in Monty Connor from Roadrunner Records, bring in those kinds of guys, and the reality is in this day and age, in this business, it's going to immediately get dwindled down to a handful of bands that have the best look and the most marketability.
Right. Yep.
That's the reality, because it's not that those other 95 bands sucked, every one of them, but was great and had great guitar players. But if they all look the same and they're all selling the exact same thing, how are you able to, again, how are you able to separate yourself to the masses and really make it something special that people can connect to? So that's the way I look at it. Is, again, to me, the makeup and the face paint, that's what's not cliche. That's what's not been done a bajillion times. So
yeah, no, and I love it, and it's funny because you already answered it. One of the questions that I like to ask is, what makes you guys stand out and to get people to really to dig you and listen to you, and we've already went there. So.
Well, and I think a lot of it too is the energy of the live show. It's not just the paint and the look.
Right.
I think a lot of it too is we're willing to lay it all out on the line, and not ways that no other bands will, but in a way that a lot of other bands, for lack of a better way to put it, just don't have the guts to do. They don't have the guts and the energy to really, really give 115% of their energy every night. I mean, when I walk off stage every night, if I'm not dripping with sweat, I'm pissed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if everybody's not dripping with sweat, then something went wrong. You know what I mean? And that to me is a lot of it too. Is it's not just the look and the stage show. It's a lot of it too is the energy and being able to connect with the fans. It's doing stuff like running out in the crowd and doing the mosh pit with your guitar in your hand. A lot of it's it's the going out and just doing all that kind of. Our singer is just an animal. I mean, a guy, if there's something he can climb on or hang from, I mean, he'll hang upside down. He'll climb up 30 feet on top of, a PA stack. I mean, I've seen him do things that literally, like, every one of us is still playing the song, but, like, biting our nails in our head and, just stuff like that. It's something that the fans connect to, and they really, I think, have just kind of put Blue Felix' name now as synonymous with just being those guys that will just do anything pretty much, There's nothing we won't do. There's nothing that, at this point, I mean, I look at it like, I wear face paint, I wear leggings, I wear fishnets, and, makeup the whole nine. It's like, really, at that point in your life, once you've done that for a few years, I mean, what could anybody possibly say to embarrass you or,
Right.
I mean, nobody can embarrass me anymore than I'm embarrassed myself at this point. So, we've kind of reached that point where, like I said, we don't care. I mean, we'll come and throw down in your kitchen if we have to, you know what I mean, to get you to know what we're about. But there's no holding back ever. I don't think anybody ever leaves anything in their hand. We always throw everything in on the table every time, every show, every night.
That's awesome. Okay, have a question. I need to, before I forget to ask you. My friend that was at the concert, she took a gazillion pictures of you guys, and I think even for a while some of the pictures were on your Facebook page. And but anyways, she had a question for you. Actually, it was for Toxic, but I'll let you answer for him since he's not here. She asked, in the song Middle Finger Up, the lyrics say, "My motto's tattooed inside my lip." And she wanted to know if he really has a tattoo inside his lip.
He actually does have a tattoo inside of his lip, and it actually pretty much is his motto. And the tat inside of his lip is actually FTW.
Nice.
Which is, I don't know if I need to say it on the radio what the F is, but it's F the world, pretty much.
Right. Yep.
So, and that kind of ties into the other lyric in the song of, screaming F the world, don't you ever forget. So, yeah, he absolutely does have a tattoo up inside of his lip, and everywhere else this dude just got some of the craziest tattoos you've ever seen in your life. He actually just got our album cover on the one side of his torso, and the other side he actually just did an upside down burning American flag. So he's got some very, very interesting ones. But yes, he absolutely does truly have his motto tattooed up inside of his lip.
Well, that's awesome. She'll be glad to hear that.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, a couple more things, and I'll let you go because I know we're all busy. What if I was to grab like your MP3 player, your iPod, or however you listen to music when you're not playing? What would I find you listening to right now?
Ooh, for me personally, I listen to a lot of classic rock, a lot of old school metal. But like I said, it kind of, a lot of that depends on the mood, depends on the day. I mean, some days, some days I wake up in a good mood. I just want to listen to Bob Marley and the Wailers. It really, it's kind of, I'm very defined on mood. But lately, like I said, it's really getting into a lot of like new metal stuff that I've been finding through our drummer Alien. That kid's just unbelievable. He's got all the ears and all the brains and all the different outlets for all the new age, underground heavy metal, and it's just unbelievable some of the musicianship that's on the scene right now. So yeah, it's just kind of it's everything. I mean, I'm sure that's true for everybody. I mean,
yep.
Even my singer. I mean, you'll find everything from the heaviest stuff all the way down to Pink Floyd, Tech Nine, whoever. It doesn't. We don't really ever try to define our lives or our music by one genre.
Right. Well, you know what? And what I find with what I get to do is the bands that I like the most. The guys in the band have the widest range of musical tastes that you'd ever think. So I think it really it makes something better of your music. So.
Yeah, I think it keeps it from getting stale. Is a lot of it too.
Yep.
Is that if you got 5 guys that are coming in listening to the exact same thing, not only is the music gonna, in my opinion, sound kind of stale, but it's also going to get to that point where it's going to start to sound like that thing that they all listen to.
Right.
And I think that's what's cool with us is we come from such broad ranges and different spectrums and different ends of the musical universe, both as musicians and as listeners, that it's always kind of just gelled into something that, in my opinion, really doesn't sound like much else out there, if anything.
Okay, well, is there anything else that you would like the Metalhead Radio listeners and then everybody that's going to listen to this, either when I play it back on my show or when I podcast it, anything else you'd like to say about the band? Or I guess one thing we should probably tell people is where you can buy your album. I know for sure you can buy it at Amazon because that's where I bought it. So where else?
We do have full digital distribution right now. You can get it from Amazon, iTunes, Rhapsody, CD Baby, all that stuff. Otherwise, right now, like I said, we don't do the label thing, so you got to come see us at a show. But for all them kids out there in Michigan, a week from Friday, we're in Muskegon, if I'm saying that right.
Yep, I know. Yep.
Yeah, we're playing there. I think October. God, I wish I knew the date for sure, but the 7th or 8th, we're at the Machine Shop in Flint. I know there was going to be another date I saw in Michigan too. I don't remember where it was, Hillsdale maybe, or I'd have to look at the actual tour routing. But I know there's going to be a few shows in Michigan, and definitely stop out, see us, say hello. I mean, we're very easily approachable dudes. We like to hang out at the merch booth after the show and just kick it with the fans.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Is come out to a show. Like I said, check out Slaughterhouse Roadshow. Even a few dates in Michigan, but yeah, there's going to be dates close by in Ohio. There's going to be a date in Chicago. It's going all the way from Minneapolis to New York to Texas to I forget anything. It ends in Missouri or Denver somewhere. I'm not sure, but yeah, so it's going all over. I mean, there's that's the best way I think is just come out to a show, experience the live show, and you can grab a disc. We got all kinds of every merch you can think of. T-shirts, hoodies. God, we got lighters, koozies, keychains. I actually make glass pipes too. That's what I do for a living when I don't do the Blue Felix thing. So we make little Blue Felix pipes and sandblast the image in there. I mean, anything you can think of. If we don't have our hands on it yet, it's on the way. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much where it is. Otherwise, like you said, the full digital thing, you can get it on iTunes or any of those places, and yeah, check it out. And check out our YouTube channel. You can see the middle finger video, the Uncle Scan video. And aside from that, I guess I'd just like to, if I could, throw out mad love to any of the sponsors. We got Jägermeister EMG pickups, Silver Surfer vaporizers, DR strings. So Killer Clothing, anything. Anybody that's helped support us over the years, we give mad love to any time, any place. So yeah, just hopefully everybody out there will come out to the shows and come kick it with us and Mushroom Head and Psycho Stick and Moto Grader, and yeah, it'll be a killer time. It's going to be a killer show.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'll Yeah, I'll spread the word about the Michigan shows for sure. And, I'm going to look into the Machine Shop show. Friends of mine that live over by there, they're a band called Hillside Barrier, and they just played a show with Devil Driver there like a week ago. So.
Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, I like Devil Driver a lot. That's another band I've been getting into lately that I had heard of them, but I hadn't really listened to too much of their stuff. And then once I started hearing some of their catalog, yeah, those guys are very, very good.
Yeah, Okay, one last thing. If you would make a couple of radio tags for me, I would really appreciate it.
Yep.
So if you could make one just for Metalhead Radio, and then you can make one for my show, just say DJ REM, and you can say whatever you want. I don't care what you say. It's
so just like you're listening to, this is Exhale from Blue Felix. You're listening to Metalhead Radio.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other one, just throw in, you're listening to DJ REM.
At metalheadradio.com. Yeah, that'd be beautiful.
All right, cool. Just tell me when you're ready.
Yep, I'm ready. Go.
Yo, what up? This is Exhale from Blue Felix, and you're listening to metalradio.com.
Okay, I'm going to... It's Metalhead Radio, so I'll have
Metalhead Radio,
yep.
Okay.
No, that's okay.
Yo, what up? This is Exhale from Blue Felix, and you're listening to metalheadradio.com.
Perfect.
Hey, what up? This is Exhale from Blue Felix, and you're listening to DJ REM at metalheadradio.com. Crank it up.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it a lot. Blue Felix is like a staple. I'm pretty certain you're actually in our daily rotation now. The owner of the station loves you guys so much. He was like instantly hooked.
Awesome. Where are you guys out of in Michigan?
Well, I'm in Michigan. We have DJs in California. We have DJs in, oh Lord, we used to have a guy in Canada. We have a guy over in Europe. We got pretty much all over the place. And I interview bands from here to, earlier this week I interviewed a band in Portugal. So
nice.
It's all about, for me, plain and simple, just like you guys, you got all this time and money invested to get yourself out there and heard. I have a lot of time and money invested in it myself to do this show, and Metalhead Radio guys don't get paid. The guy owns a station. He foots the bill to run it, and it's just a bunch of guys and gals that love music and love to help promote bands that they like, and that's what we do. So I just like to throw that out there because
the world needs more places like that.
Because I know you guys bands get hit up a lot of times by people that have ulterior motives and self-promotion things. Are like, oh, I talked to so-and-so, so now I can push myself. You know what? I could care less about that. I listen, like I told you, I heard about you guys. I watched your videos. I was like, dang, I downloaded your album. I've been playing it on my show for like weeks since I've had it. And it's just, it's all about love of music here. So just ending with that little comment.
Well, cool, man.
So I truly appreciate the time that you took to talk to me. Please tell everybody in the band that Metalhead Radio says, yo, what's up? And tell them they got a fan base going on Metalhead Radio. So.
Well, yeah, just let me know or send us a link if you got a link to the interview.
Yep. What I will do is and actually I'll tell you when it's going to be aired here. Look at my calendar. I'm so stinking booked, it's crazy. This interview will replay on October 17th at 9 p.m. We have a graphics guy at Metalhead Radio, and he does killer graphics. He will make a promo flyer that's actually a quality where you could print like a 5x7 and actually spread it around. We've done that before, and
cool.
He'll make that, and when he gets it to me, then I'll send it to you guys personally, and I'll post it on your Facebook, and I'll hoard out there. Don't worry.
Well, cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
So, okay, well, that's it for me. Just thanks again, and hope the rest of your day goes great, man.
All right, thanks, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care. Bye.
All right, bye.
Dad?
Yes.